Hi Cancer, welcome back to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. And if you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you. It's a fairly new channel. So I've been going for about 5 months now. So I'm really excited about the number of subscribers that have come forward. So if you're coming back, welcome again. So what we're going to be doing, this is going to be for the week of May the 8th to the 14th, and we're going to be doing a spread called the Hermit's Lantern today. So we're going to take a deep dive into the meaning of the Hermit just to begin here. The Hermit is the card in the deck that asks us to take our focus off from the exterior or the outside world, where we tend to really look for a fix for a lot of our problems and issues and situations or patterns that are showing up in our life, where we're, sometimes we're looking at trying to find a relationship that's going to fix us, or trying to, even an addiction or different things from the outside world will keep us busy and distract us from doing our inner work. And so the Hermit says, it's time here to take a deep dive, come into yourself, where it's time to now do some inner work. We're going to shine a light on your shadow. So we're going to be doing some shadow work in this particular reading. So if you're unfamiliar with the word shadow or shadow work, I've left a video in my description box below that I've done on how I do shadow work. I'm somebody that has been in some real intensive healing for the last about 7 years, I guess, where I've had to work with my life coach, and I have complex trauma. So I've been really doing myself, deep shadow work. So this is what we're going to be doing in here in this reading. So I'm going to start off with actually asking for some cards to come up that will show me what's coming up from your shadow to heal. I don't always start off with that, but we're taking a deep dive into the shadow. So I'm gonna start off with asking the tarot for what's coming up for you to heal. We're gonna look at what the origin of this particular healing, this thing that's needed to heal. What's the origin of it? I want to look at how it's showing up in your daily life, because what's in your shadow, when it's starting to come up for it to heal, we have a tendency, of course, to push it back down, but it's going to impact everything in your life. So when you're having triggers, when you're having anxiety and depression and, especially relationship issues, something from your shadow is causing this. It's affecting it, because your shadow wants to be healed. It wants you to look at it, because that is where your true self lies when we start to heal and peel away the layers of our shadow. And so it's going to have the biggest impact on our life, and especially in all our relationships. And then I want to look at how you can heal it. And we're going to look at what the advice from the tarot, what they're telling you. And then I'll give my own advice as well. I also have another channel called Carol Cares that I have a lot of videos on there about mental health. And I started that channel a few years ago, and every once in a while I'll add videos to that. And then finally, in the middle, we're going to look at how your life will change, what's going to open up for you once you heal this particular thing, trauma, memory, pattern in your life that's showing up for you right now. So when I decided to do this this spread, I thought, well, what deck can I use? And I really wanted one that was going to take a deep dive into the shadow. So I love the Tarot of the Abyss. It's my only black and white deck. And I just, I saw another tarot reader using it, and right away it just called me, and I was like, I gotta have that deck. And I was so happy that she mentioned what it was, because some tarot readers don't always mention. I mean, sometimes I forget too, but she mentioned what the deck was, and it was like right away I have to get it. And well, I looked it up on YouTube and thought, I looked at some of the pictures and just love this deck. So it's new, so you're going to see that I'm going to be a little bit sloppy with the way it's still kind of stiff. So yeah, but anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up right here in those 5 areas. So I'm going to start off with the Tarot of the Abyss, and I'm going to ask it to kind of give me 5 cards separately, because to see first of all, those 5 areas. And then I'm going to take the Radiant Rider-Waite deck here and I'm going to clarify it. So just give me a few seconds here to set up. So Tarot, can you give me 5 cards for these 5 areas here? So let's go with area number 1. What needs to heal here for Cancer? Let's have a, there we go, there's 1 card. And card number 2. What's its origin? Okay. Number 2. Card number 3, how is it showing up in Cancer's daily life? That one wanted to come out very quickly. Number 4 is how can I heal it? How can Cancer heal this? 9 of Pentacles. And in the middle part here, how will it change your life once you heal this? How will your life change? Came flying out here. All right. So put that away and let me show you the cards I picked out for you before I put the clarifies on them. So what's coming up from your shadow to heal? You got the Hermit card in reverse. Interesting that you got the Hermit to come out in a Hermit reading. Second card, what's the origin, is the 9 of Wands in reverse. The 9 of Wands in reverse. And how's it showing up in your daily life? The 2 of Pentacles. How can you heal this? You got the 9 of Pentacles. And in the middle is the outcome. So how will your life change? You got the 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands. All right. Now, let me just ask the tarot here to give me 1 or 2 clarifiers for each card. This deck is pretty good. It's the Radiant Rider-Waite, like I said. I have 3 Rider-Waite decks, and I have a large one which I love. It's my go-to one. This is kind of a medium size, and it's actually smaller than a card deck, your regular card deck, but I like it a lot because the cards really fly out for me. And then I bought, and I didn't think I would, but I bought the mini one, and I love that one too. But I wanted, I find that I want something that's fairly visible so that you can see it, that's large enough. But I like my mini one as well, so I'll use that sometimes. All right, so can you give me, Tarot, 1 or 2 cards for the Hermit here? See how they fly out? 6 of Cups, I love that. So I think I'm going to have 1 more here. I'd like to have at least maybe 2. And if a clarifier doesn't come out, nope, this one came out, 5 of Wands, then I'll just go on. The 9 of Wands in reverse here. All right, so we have the Hierophant card and the 7 of Wands in reverse. The 2 of Pentacles. 2 cards, please. Queen of Swords. And I'll try it 1 more time. Is there 1 more card you want here? Yeah, the Ace of Swords. And the 9 of Pentacles. 2 cards. You have the Strength card to go with that. And 1 more card. That one wanted to come out quickly. The Death in reverse. All right, so let's begin, Cancer. What's coming up from your shadow to heal? Remember, your shadow is all those parts of yourself that you've put away, you've buried in your unconscious. There could be things that people told you when you were younger. They could be things that were not nice, or they could be actually, sometimes our gifts are buried in our shadow and people don't realize that. Like, if there was something you wanted to do when you were younger, if you had some sort of a gift or a talent, and sometimes we can be, people around us can either have been jealous, afraid, or just discouraged you from using that gift maybe when it's come out. And you wouldn't even know about it, probably. You wouldn't remember like, if it's sitting in the unconscious, you have buried it. And so what happens is when we start peeling away at these layers in our shadow, it's like that onion kind of thing, right? Where you start peeling away your layers of trauma, your layers of things that need to heal. We all have trauma on a continuum. Some of us have a lot more than others. And when you start peeling away your shadow, that's when you start seeing and feeling that there's certain things you want to start to do. For example, the tarot was something I bought a deck years ago. I have my video when you go to my channel, the opening video is about how I became a tarot reader. And, in short, it's a card deck that I bought a tarot card deck for myself, chucked it in a drawer, and it sat there for a long time, and I didn't really think about it, and I ended up getting addicted to tarot readings. It became one of my addictions, actually, and I had to deal with that. And then later on, like a few years later, it started coming up again, and it was like this nudge, right? It's your intuition. It's like a nudge, a very quiet nudge. It was like, let's do tarot. I want to do tarot. And so I just, I kept on bringing it to my life coach saying, I think I'm supposed to do tarot. I think I'm supposed to do tarot. But I needed to keep working on my trauma and healing and healing and healing before I finally was able to put myself in front of the camera and do it. And here I am 5 months later, right? So here we are. Let's look at your stuff now, right? I just talked about me, so we're going to talk about you. So what's coming up in your shadow? Well, you have the Hermit in reverse to start off with. And this is it's an interesting Hermit card. I'm going to show you her in the upright position. And she's a she because when I read the guidebook, she could call them they if you want, but seems to be a she in the guidebook, so I'll call her she. She's in the desert, and look at her hair. Like, you can just tell that she hasn't washed in days, and very much alone, and so and she has this snake, the snake that talks about being reborn and rebirth, and this is what happens when we start digging into our shadow and healing our stuff, that we get reborn again. It seems to me that every time I've worked through a memory or something that's come up for me to heal, I go through that whole process, and then you kind of come out of it again where you're being reborn. So what's coming up from your shadow here in reverse? Well, I'm feeling here that the shadow is normally a card the Hermit is usually a card of introspection, going inwards, and it can also be, when you do that journey, it becomes a very lonely journey. And so I'm going to say, because this is in reverse, I'm going to say that what's coming up from your shadow is a period of your time when you were alone, when you felt so alone. And so loneliness is coming up for you right now, because you have this woman that's in the desert by herself, and the healing journey can be so lonely for everybody that is on it. But when you're in loneliness, you think that you're the only one that's in it. You think you're the only one that's on it, but your loneliness is coming up for you to heal. So you're feeling quite lonely right now is what I'm seeing here. And the Six of Cups comes up here right behind it, and it kind of explains why you're feeling lonely. It's going to explain about this loneliness here, and who is it or what is it that's feeling lonely. And the Six of Cups comes up here, and it's the Six of Cups for me is an exchange. Sixes in my deck are a duality card. So you can have an exchange going on. In this particular card, the exchange that's going on is giving and receiving. And so what does that mean for you? You have this individual that's giving to the smaller child, right? It almost looks like a bigger, maybe an older sibling, a neighborhood friend kind of, that's giving to a younger child. And so this card for me is the card that speaks of the exchange that we have with our inner child. And this came in reverse for you. So that tells me that your inner child is very much blocked and is wanting to speak to you. And so there's an inner child here that really wants to tell you about their loneliness. And so that's coming up for healing. And right behind it is the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands is my card of, I call it the ego conflict card, where, you know, you can start to, all you need to do is get on social media and start scrolling. And that's when your ego starts comparing you to all these different people. And, you know, I did that before I started this tarot channel. I was like, I'm going to look at all these different tarot channels and compare myself. And that just shut me right down. And so it really is a card of, I think, unworthiness, really, because you're comparing yourself to other people, so you're feeling less than. So you have very much an inner child that is feeling very lonely and very unworthy, like just not noticed. I mean, obviously when you're feeling lonely when you're a child, you're not feeling noticed. You're not feeling like, you know, you're getting any attention. And so this younger part of you needs to be healed, wants to talk to you, wants you to listen. There needs to be a giving and a receiving here. What's the origin of this? What is the origin of this? Well, you have the Nine of Wands. And let's take a look at this. This is in reverse, but this particular individual, I want to show you the cards because they're absolutely gorgeous cards. This particular individual here has been through battle. He's carrying what looks like a sword, but I think it's her wands. I gotta be careful because I get the wands and I tend to mix them up, not the meanings, but just the pictures of them. So this is a picture, of the Nine of Wands here. This is the card, beautiful card. So you have this individual here that, they portray him as it looks like he's been through a heck of a battle, right? And I almost see there's this wheel there looking like he may even, when I first looked at it, it looked like he was in a wheelchair, but he's been through battle. He's got the bandage on his head. And so what does this tell me about? And it's in reverse here. So what's this coming from? Well, it looks like there's, again, this kind of, I'm wondering if, your childhood was a bit of a battle. It looks like there's somebody that's just been through a hell of a lot. And so this is telling me where it comes from. So this is a child that's been through a lot, someone that's been through a lot. And, it's learned to, you have this individual, it's learned to put all these walls up, see all these wands that he's put up here. He's learned to put them all up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so that is a sword that he has in his hand, because there's 9 wands behind him. And so that really says something to me. I'm going to show you the sword he has in his hand. I thought it was a wand, but there's 9 wands behind him. That's a sword. A sword's all about your authenticity, who you are. Yeah. And so I think this child here, this who you are, is your sense of who you are has really been, you've been through battle. And so I think, who you are has kind of been lost in the shuffle here. So this is coming from, definitely, this whole situation of loneliness is coming from a period of your childhood, your adolescence, where you went through quite a bit, so there's some trauma here for sure. And the Hierophant comes up here right after it. And the Hierophant is that card about obedience and, where we get our wisdom from and where people tell us what we're supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. And so to me, it's kind of sounds like this is a bit of a, when I see the Hierophant come up, it kind of, I see, it depends on what situation it comes up, but it can really put us in a box. And so this Hierophant card's coming up here to say that here's a box, a controlling box that, you can't get out of. And so I'm seeing that you had a childhood here that was very chaotic and very controlling. And the Seven of Wands comes out for another card that really tells me that this loneliness here, this is where it's coming from. You have this individual here. Let me turn this up right. This is a Seven of Wands. We have this individual, and to tell you the truth, this is my favorite card of the deck. In that it reminds me about my own journey, is that when you're on this healing journey, and this is coming from, I know I'm just talking in general here about this card, but you really do feel alone. You really do. And when you start, especially when you're on it, you have other people around you and people that are close to you that don't like you being on it. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe there's just some people that can't support you. And that's where part of this journey is. There's a card where, I believe it's the death card that comes out, and it's like, you're going to lose some things. You're going to lose some people along the way, because these individuals down here, they're not supportive. And so I'm seeing here that you were in an environment when you were younger that was very much not supportive, and you felt very much alone. And so what's coming up for you now, this loneliness that you're feeling in your life right now, is like a mirror. It mirrors our outside world, mirrors what's going on in here, what needs to be healed. So this loneliness that you're feeling right now in your life is actually reflecting what needs to be healed here. Was that period of your childhood, maybe the whole child, where you felt extremely lonely and almost like alone for sure, and boxed in and being controlled and not having anybody to support you. This is what I see right now. And so how is it showing up in your daily life right now? You have the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles here really reminds me of, it's interesting now that, I'm reading these because wherever they sit, they can take on like kind of different meanings. So the Two of Pentacles is interesting here because you have this individual, and it's like, I always think it looks like they're look at them taking on their different masks they're putting on. On one hand, they turn, it almost looks like a yo-yo, but it's the pentacle that they're yo-yoing here. So, and I think of it as a yo-yo. So you're like yo-yoing. You're like, on one hand, with this person, you're this individual. In another situation, you're that individual, and then you're this individual. So it's like you put on these masks. There's so many things going on, so many people you're meeting, because you don't know who you are. Because back here, you lost that essence, that meaning of who you were back here. He has that sort of authenticity. So you're not sure who you are. And so what happens in life when we don't know where we are, because of this pain that you're carrying around, you're just kind of like, you could be a people pleaser too. Like you just kind of put on these different masks for different people. And this is a multitasker person. So there's like different things you're doing. So you could be quite distracted, feeling distracted. You could be feeling quite, you can just tell you're kind of scattered sometimes. But this is what happens when something comes up for us to heal, and we can really become scattered, and that's when our anxiety comes out, and we're putting on these different masks for different people, and we're just like, well, who the hell am I under all of this? So it really is affecting your daily life, and you're probably feeling quite like, use that big word, discombobulated, and you could, if you're familiar with the word dissociated sometimes, and we can get really dissociated when something from our shadow's coming up and it's wanting for us to heal. But at the same time, we've got this ego of ours that's going, no, don't, you can't deal with this. No, this emotion's dangerous. This memory's dangerous, and it's pushing you down. That's where the anxiety comes in. You always wonder where your anxiety is. Well, it's the fear of having to deal with those emotions, and yet you need to deal with it, but your ego's going, no, don't deal with this. And the Queen of Swords comes out right behind it. Well, how is it affecting? And I just said, like, how is it affecting your life? Well, the Queen of Swords, she's our feminine aspect of herself. And everybody has a feminine aspect. We have a masculine aspect, which is her ego, and then we got the feminine side. She's all about her sort of authenticity. Well, it's affecting who you are. You don't know who you are, and I just said that, like, you don't know who you are. What face am I supposed to put on today? I'm feeling really scattered, and yeah, I've been there many times, and I can't scream about authenticity enough. You have right behind the Two of Pentacles, when I said you're putting on these masks and everything, you have the Queen of Swords, and then you have the Ace of Swords. The Ace is that offer from the universe. How is it affecting us? Well, it's the authenticity, the authentic sword. It's all about your authenticity. Your authenticity, who you are, is hidden behind these masks that you're having to put on to hide this pain of loneliness that you need to get to. How will my life change? Not how will my life change. Sorry. How can I heal? How do you heal this? How do you heal your loneliness? How do you heal this, whatever's coming up here? How do you heal that? Well, the Nine of Pentacles comes up, and the Nine of Pentacles is a beautiful card. Look at this woman here. And I love this card for this deck. She's very much in touch with nature. She's very much in touch with flowers, the birds, just living a very simple life. How do you heal this? Well, it's very calming, this card, when I look at it. Well, just when I stare at this card, it just kind of brings me a sense of, and I think that's what you need in your life, that kind of, and that's like grounding, learning how to ground ourselves, getting back in touch with nature, getting back in touch with the simple things of life. I did say that this card back here can be a card of how it's impacting our life, how we can be really scattered, and we can be really distracted by so many things in our life. And it can be a decision card, right? It's hard for you to make a decision. You could be somebody that's, I just can't make a decision. That's part of our trauma. That's part of, these things that we try to push down and heal. And so you need to get some stillness, back to nature, back to, simple. What things got to go in your life, maybe, and how can you heal this? Well, it's time to go and do some inner work. This is what this Hermit deck card is all about. Doing your inner work. And the Strength card comes out. It's not a strength card of go out and lift some weights here. This is a strength card of she's able to open up the mouth of the lion. She's not afraid. She's not afraid. And so how can you heal this? You need to, first of all, get in touch with your fear. And I do that by literally laying on the floor and propping up my knees and shake my knees. And because I have a lot of fear in my system, and I know when it's coming up. And you know when it's coming up. It's when your anxiety comes up. I literally go on the floor and I shake. I shake and shake and shake. That's how, if you see animals in the wild, after they've had a battle, they've been attacked, and they have pictures of it. If you go online, it's absolutely fascinating, where they have this natural instinct in them where once they've found a safe place after the battle, or after they've been in contact with other animals that they've been attacked, they'll go in and they'll get into a safe spot. Once they know they're safe, their body will shake. It's shaking off the fear. And so I shake. I've learned to shake my body to get rid of the fear. Because this Strength card is saying, well, you have the inner strength. You have the strength to go inwards. But you got to work on the fear. You got to get to the fear first. So you get yourself into a safe place. Then you shake your legs. I do what's called, if you go online, I did a video on it too about fear. And I'll link a playlist for you about tackling your fear. And in one of those videos, I talk about something called TRE. it's traumatic release exercises. And I literally went out, that was recommended to me. And so I got on there, and I learned how to shake my legs, and that just releases some of the fear that's in your system, so that you can get at this loneliness and start to heal start to heal it. And the death card comes in here, and the death card is, I talked about that earlier, it's in reverse here. And I'm seeing here that the death card in reverse is, sometimes when you're on this healing journey, there are people around you that are going to not support you, not invalidate you. Or sometimes when we're sitting in a situation here where we need to look at our fear, we need to start going inwards and doing some of our inner shadow work. It's very important that we're around safe people. And because I see here that this is in reverse, so I'm wondering here if there's a resistance on your part, and it's just a question, it's a general reading, to see that maybe there are some individuals or are some things in your life that need to go. And because you need to be in a safe place to start to deal with some of this fear that's coming up and deal with this loneliness. You can be with people and still feel lonely all your life. It's because, the only one that can help you with your loneliness is you. And so the death card in reverse is telling you that maybe there's some people in your life that need to go, and you need to walk away from. You did have this 7 of Wands card when you were younger, where you weren't feeling supported and validated. So that's kind of interesting that that's come about right now. So Cancer, that was a very interesting reading. I'm not going to say that these readings are, they're pretty heavy. If you've stuck around to the end, obviously you are on this journey and you want to heal. The people that don't want to heal, and not everybody's going to want to heal. It's hard to look at your stuff. They'll click off, and I know that. I'm not going to tell you that there's anybody that's going to come in and save you, and your lover's going to be out there somewhere. I can't tell you that. But I will tell you, where you can heal. I did forget about the middle card here. How will your life change? Why did I forget that? That is incredible. Yeah. So I did forget to pull some cards for that as well. I apologize, Cancer. I'm glad I caught this before. So I'm going to leave you with a fear playlist at the end for sure. But how will your life change? How will your life change after this? After you start to clear up some of that fear and work on your loneliness. 1 or 2 cards for this 10 of Wands, please. It's interesting that I forgot that one. I apologize for that. I got one here. Oh, beautiful, beautiful outcome here for you. Okay, so, here's the 10 of Wands here. The 10 of Wands is a number 10, first of all. And so it's at the end of a cycle. And the Wands card are all about, taking your life. The Wands suit is all about taking your life in the direction that you want to go in. And so the 10 of Wands is like, here you are at the end of the cycle with these burdens. I picture you with all these burdens. You're at the end of the cycle. Well, I think this is an end of a cycle for you where you start to take out these wands. They actually look like, logs, mini logs here. We're going to start to take them out. And these burdens, they become less and less and less heavy as you start to heal them. And so that's how your life's going to change. High Priest is an interesting card to come out for, a nice card to come out for how your life is going to change. She's in reverse. She is the feminine side to us, or feminine energy again. High Priestess is card number 2 in the Major Arcana, big universal force here. Something that's available to everybody is our intuition. She represents the beautiful gift of our feminine side, which everybody has and everybody has access to. It's our intuition. It's our inner guidance system. It's knowing what's right, what's wrong, you see. Because you had this 2 of Pentacles where you just didn't know yourself. You're not sure which way to go. you know, you're quite confused, you're having a hard time making a decision maybe, you're going to find out about your intuition. You're going to find out once you start peeling away at some of these layers, this is going to show its face. She's going to show her face. She's going to show you. She's going to direct you to your intuition, your inner guidance. Because right now it's blocked. But it's going to become, once you start, you know, taking these logs out of the backpack, and things start opening up for you. And intuition is one of our gifts that we have that we don't even know. And that's going to start coming up for you. And the other thing is this King of Wands. And he's a male aspect of ourselves. He's the ego. He's the, you know, the direction that you're going into. Right now, your ego is kind of saying, you know, don't deal with this, you know, this is stupid. This is all, these emotions that you're supposed to feel, they're dangerous. Don't go there, and it'll block it. So your ego is very much blocking all of this. But once you move that ego aside, that fear of the ego aside, your intuition's going to start to open up. Things are going to feel lighter for you for sure. I know they will. So this is your reading, Cancer. I'll leave you with a playlist on fear, and you'll get those TRE exercises I talked about. And I'll also leave you with my May reading that I did for you. Take care, Cancer, and please have compassion for yourself, for what you're working through. And I'll talk soon. Bye-bye.